Hey guys, Jesse here with 6-Speed Media, and today I'm going to be installing our new video, which I've got sitting up here, a new dash bezel, and that's pretty much it. I'm just going to be installing those two things, but to get started I kind of want to show you a couple of things you got to do to get this bezel off. And in my case, I've got one extra thing. I had to loosen this so it'll clear, but first thing you gotta do is get your windshield wiper knob off. But to get that off, all you do is take your little tiny screwdriver behind here and you push that clip right there. So you'll go in and pull towards you, and as you're pulling towards you, you just slide it right off. And as with this knob for your headlights, what you have to do is you have to come down here, reach up behind your dash, and there's a little button up top that you press. When you press that button, you can pull this completely out, and I'll show you what that looks like once I get it out. And all I've got to do with this, because it's junk, just pull that off. Make sure your knobs are out of your way, because these two pieces are not attached. This will come separate. And make sure you get all your screws. I have one here. I believe you have 4 across the top. You have one here, one there, and one here, which I've removed all. I've removed 3 of them, I believe. And you gotta remove that one too. And then you also have one between your lights. I'm missing a screw, so as far as that goes, that's all it is to getting that out. Here's what I was telling you about. I put this back in just to turn my headlights back off, because sometimes when you pull it out, they come on. But there is that little button. Not there. Back here. That I was telling you about. You pull that out right there as you press that button. And then you pull your bezel out, and I've already pulled my radio out. As you see, I've got kind of a wiring mess here. I've got to kind of go through and remove so I can reinstall my new radio and all its stuff. I've got to pull all of this out. So I'm going to go ahead and pull all this out, and I'll catch y'all back here in a minute. Alright guys, I'm back, and here's where we're at. All the old wiring pulled out. I've got all my radio wires here. I've got to cut all the old connectors off, wire in my new ones, and I've already repaired part of my factory harness here. I've got to get my power harness installed, but as of right now, I'm just sitting here with my multimeter, and I'm trying to find a constant ignition source that I can connect to my radio, because my old one was connected to my amperage gauge, and I plan on changing that. So this is about where we're at as of right now. I'm still working on wiring, and once I get all of this wired up, it's as simple as just color matching for me, because I've already got all this done. But these would be your speaker wires, and it's labeled, so it's easy to connect them. If you don't have any speakers, it's easy to connect them. If you already have speakers in your vehicle, your wires should have 2 different colors on it. And you can go to your speakers. If you don't know which side's which, you can go to your speaker and see which color goes to which side of the speaker, so you know how to hook it up versus positive or negative, however that has to go. But mine's already color coded. See, I believe I've done mine. If I can get it to focus. See, mine's purple with a black stripe there, and solid purple there. So all I have to do is color match mine. But as far as that goes, I'll find this constant 12 volts, and I'm going to connect this is the factory harness that I have installed. This blue wire is my illumination. This yellow wire is my switch 12 volts. That's going to be for my ignition side. And my ground, I'm actually going to run across here, and I'm going to mount it right there with that factory ground, which I also have my gauges illumination ground tied into, so I'll be running my other ground for my radio there also. So I'll get back to y'all as soon as I get that wired up, and I'll show y'all how easy it is to get that in place. I'll get my bracket switched out, and I'll get back to y'all when I get that done.
Let's go. Yo, I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same. Cause that's what it takes.
Alright guys, I've got my power harness installed, and for my accessory 12 volts, I just have a butt connector going in here. This radio does not have an illumination wire that I can see anywhere, so this wire I will just be leaving blank since we don't need it anymore. And the black wire is my ground, and then the yellow wire is my constant 12 volts. So what I did is I made a harness for my ground and constant 12 volts, since I didn't have either one of them here. Which I could have grounded this and all, but I'd rather go to a factory ground. So what I did is I made a harness. You can see the new white tape. I came up right here to my factory point, and I grounded it right there. And I continued on with my wire down to the fuse box for my constant 12 volts. And what I did with my constant 12 volts is I come down here and just simply tapped into the fuse up there. All I did was take a terminal, all I did was take one of these terminals right here. No, not that one. That's in the wrong spot. Get over there in your spot. There you go. All I did was take one of these, and if you put about a 15-degree bend in that little terminal right there, well, you can slide it in on the battery side of the fuse, and it won't cause your fuse to blow or anything like that. And yes, this is fused. It is fused on the radio side. There's a 15 amp fuse in line already. So yes, this line will be fused. It's just going to be fused closer to the radio, which isn't really ideal, but it is fused. So I've also got my speaker harness installed. This is going to be particular to your vehicle. Mine, everything is opposite. The black stripe doesn't go to the white stripe like it's supposed to, because I put the wires in the truck wrong 10 years ago when I started tinkering on this truck. Didn't know better back then, so I'll fix that one day when I decide to put factory wiring in here, because I will do that one day, because this does have the door speakers in it. I won't be putting that factory speaker back in there because I'll keep speakers behind the seats. But alright, this is the final look for the microphone. Tucked all the way in, all the way down, just till it crosses over to go down behind the dash. So, if you're curious how to hide your wiring on your microphone in your 70s Ford, that's how you do it. Right now, I'm going to try and get the radio mounted in place. Once I have the radio mounted in place, all I have to do is connect my two wires, and we should be good to go. Alright guys, it's pitch black out here, so I'm just going to give y'all the best lighting I can. But I'm going to show y'all the easiest way to set this radio up in your bezel. Take your bezel, and what you're going to do, I'm one-handed here, is set it right there. Move my coffee out of the way, gotta have my coffee. Grab my knobs. Okay, you're going to want to have your knobs, your bezel, and your radio. What you're going to do is you're going to take your radio and you're going to set it through your bezel. And I'm actually going to try to do this one-handed here, that way I can show y'all what's going on. So, angle it down, So, you're going to take it and you're going to put it through your bezel. That's how you're going to get your spacing right. Center your radio the best you can. Get your knobs centered between your holes the best you can. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your rear knob. This is what you really need. What you're going to do, you're going to make sure it goes on there, and make sure that you have a little bit of clearance on the back side. That way it won't rub. Once you have that depth set, that's where you're going to walk down your knobs at. So, I have my spacing right, and I have my knob depth right. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to lock these down on these, and lock this one down on this one. Yes, I had to bend this to clear my dashboard, but what I had to do, this is a 1977 F-150, I had to take the infinity bracket, is what they call it, and move it all the way forward while also putting my knobs all the way forward. That is the only way I was able to get enough depth, because this thread has to stick out about a 1/2 inch past the bezel right here in order for your knobs to be able to sit and have just a little bit of a gap. So once you have that depth set, all I'm going to do is set this back in place, which I haven't locked mine down yet, so mine are moving all over the place. There's actually another bracket that goes in behind that this will mount to. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set this in here, get it sitting flush, and I'm actually going to measure and see exactly how far I need to set my nuts on here in order for this to set up against it, and then I'll lock it down and then put my bezel on. And I'll show y'all that once I get it in the truck. Alright, I'm back. So here's what I got so far. I've got it fit, so when I have everything flush, it'll be centered pretty close. I've got my knobs centered pretty close, and everything sits just about like it should. Now how I got it as close as I did is I went ahead, I showed y'all that I got these centered within the holes using the bezel back there at the tailgate. I showed y'all the depth. Now getting the depth of your face, the way I do that is pull this off. I have a nut here on the front of my mounting plate, and then I have a nut. You see that nut there? There's also a nut right behind this plate that you can't see, right behind this lip. There's a nut on the back side, and that is how I set the depth of the face. Now, they say that you need to run a bracket on the back side of this thing. I didn't use the one that come in the kit because these trucks have a factory mounting bracket which runs up there and up behind the radio. I've already got it mounted. So basically all I have to do now is I'm going to actually move this out just a hair more, and I'm going to tighten these down, and then all I have to do at that point is put my instrument cluster back in, my bezel back in, and I'll be good to go. So I'll see y'all once I get that in.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away.